essentially, it was the moulding. It just didn't have that much more detail than a 72nd scale version. It didn't have that much finesse that you expect from an upscale kit, especially something of this magnitude. And it just looked, when I saw the sprues, I was just literally about to place my order, and I saw the first photograph of the sprues and I looked at it and I thought, oh, really? And it just looked like a scaled up 72nd scale. The panels were it was all very uniform looking. It didn't have any sort of those, on this Blackbird, if you've ever seen it, you get all sorts of bulging panels and slightly uneven panels, and it didn't have any of that. It just looked like a little 72nd scale, upscaled, very bone-idly, and then they put it on a stand with these two engines. And again, this was a kit that was best part of £100 when it came out. So I didn't bother to order it. And then I saw the reviews when it did come out, and I just thought, yes, you did the right thing. And the huge excitement that surrounded this kit sort of just died really quickly. Another, not a tragic failure, not a quality failure so much, but just a failure, missed opportunity, you know. It didn't move the game on in any notable way at all that you could visibly detect. It was just a bigger version of a 72nd scale like the Italeri one. Very disappointing, just disappointing. So, you know, that's a new kit they brought out that, again, in the last 3 years we've had a terrible kit, dire. We've had a rather disappointing average kit. Now it's time for the good one, okay? Now this is the kit that I voted, I think it came 5th in my kits of the year last year. Now that for a Revell kit, that's quite something. And it's this one. It's the 72nd scale F15E Strike Eagle. Now this, I ended up actually, I reviewed this and then I auctioned it off to raise money for Ukraine charities, disaster aid charities. This was completely different. Now, again, I'll post you a link of this in my my wind-up at the end of the show here, because this was the exact opposite of these dreadful products that they've been producing. It had some beautifully finessed surface detail. It had some very clever interlocking parts that really worked together very well to avoid some seams and bad joins and things. It had some very, very nice detail around the cockpit area. It was the best kit from them I can think of for like 10 or 15 years, I think. At least 10 or 15 years. I was amazed by it. It really was nice, you know. I would have kept this and built it had I not already got the Revell old tool, 1994 tooled 48 scale version of the F15E Strike Eagle, which most of you have seen. So this is why I passed it on for charity, raising money for charity. But bought by a good friend of ours, Gary from Manchester. Give a quick plug there, Gary. He was very generous. Anyway, that's by the by, but I think he was very pleased with it as well. That shows that I'm not wrong. This shows that Revell are, in fact, capable of producing a quality product. And I just wonder, you know, I mean, I know we had the similar conversation with Airfix, but we weren't talking about dire quality there. We were talking about some average kits versus some brilliant kits. Now we're talking about good kits versus just garbage at Revell, yeah? So I just wonder why we have this variance and what they need to get control of this. We need more of that. No, not that. That. We need more of that. That was a cracking little kit. And it was $19.99. Now this does everything that some of these people that have been defending Revell claim. Yeah. This was good value for money. It was affordable, perfect for the beginner or the returnee to the modelling hobby. It would bring a lot of pleasure to a lot of people. And nice decals on it. Good instructions. Nice clear parts. There was nothing not to like, yeah? So why on earth did they produce, the same year they produced that dog of an F18F? It is astonishing. And the price was just ridiculous, you know. Apologising for things, apologising for bad quality, telling you you've got to remove all this flash. In their own instructions, this is the most damning indictment, confession of bad quality that I've ever seen from a kit manufacturer. Calm yourself, have a drink, Have a breather. That's my 2 pence on Revell. I think you can see that I've been fair, but brutal, because it needs brutality. What are they doing? If I was a German, I'd be even more angry than I am, because it's undermining their brand Germany. You know, the Germans don't do rubbish like this. What's wrong with them? It's just incredible. You know, I've always expected great products from Germany, and you know, along with the Japanese and the UK, they're probably the three of the best engineering companies, and the USA of course. But certainly in terms of premium engineering and innovation, these are countries that normally lead the world, but that just doesn't feel right. And I think if they don't get a grip of this, they're going to be out of business. Nobody wants that. I don't want it. I've just shown how enthusiastic and delighted I was with that F15. It was beautiful. And I said so. You know, you see it in the link. I said, this is not like Revell of recent. This is fantastic. So they can do it. They just need more focus. Why they couldn't kick that terrible F18 just back into production and say, guys, either sort this out or you're fired, frankly. Because for something like that, can you imagine Tamiya ever producing something like that at any price? Absolutely, it just isn't in their DNA. You know, people would be sacked on the spot, and the design team would be replaced, and the production team as well, because the actual quality of the moulds was obviously bad. The flash, the finishing, the QC, there isn't any, and it's almost as though the person that wrote their instructions on that Hornet, Super Hornet, was left to clear up the broken crockery, you know, of a disaster, an absolute disgrace, you know, and. You know, I moaned about Kinetic. Well, this is a new low in the industry, I think, from Revell. So listen, I'm not going to harp on about it anymore. This company has got, you know, people in the UK, even people like the brand, but they're not going to have to carry on producing garbage like that. That is just junk, fit for the bin. £100, I wouldn't give you £50 for it. Unbelievable, really. They're going to have to do better, aren't they? They're going to have to do better. Look at what you're getting now for your money. You've got Airfix, who are certainly totally superior to that sort of nonsense, and with, you know, a variety of interesting subjects. You've now got people like Armour Hobby. You've got ICM. I mean, ICM are treading all over Revell's tail, frankly, and not too far away. You know, and producing kits in the most difficult circumstances imaginable. You know, wiping the floor with Revell, frankly, on quality, fit, boxing, pretty much everything, really. I mean, I will say that Revell's artwork, I don't know who does their artwork, but their artwork is lovely. And that's, after that, it goes downhill for me. It really does. You know, the minute you open the box, it's why do they persist with these stupid boxes? Revell, if you're listening, you need to change your box design. That's your first job. Second job is, you're going to have to get your quality control under control, because it isn't. I think that you cannot be apologising and explaining the bad quality and the instructions before somebody's even got to the plastic. It's just unfathomable in the 21st century that you can get away with that, and it's going to hurt your company. So, I'm not going to carry on giving business lessons. You better get your act together, because it's just going to come back and bite you in the backside, and this is going to destroy Revell as a brand. It's damaging them already. I mean, I am now very jaundiced. If I'd have bought that Harrier, that would have been right on the desk here, I can tell you. They can produce brilliant qualities, and that's what they've got to focus on doing. They need to stop churning out rubbish, stop churning out bad boxes, which has got dishonest artwork, you know, showing a new artworks on very, very ancient kits. And they've got to have a complete rethink on their quality control and the way they're presenting themselves to the market. Because whether you're owned by venture capitalists or you're not, you will not make it in this very competitive market. You know, you've got all these guys in Ukraine, you've got Mini Art, Models Fit, you've got ICM, many others, you've got Eduard are way better than Revell, of course they are, apart from their day cards, but we'll get to that in another episode. But you know, Revell is the other household name. Revell and Airfix, along with Tamiya to a less degree, are the names that people know the best. This is destroying Revell's credibility completely, and they've got to get it back on the rails, and they've got to take some action and do it very quickly. Because if they carry on producing kits like that, people are just going to dismiss them, you know. The more knowledgeable modelers become, the less chance Revell have got if they carry on repeating the mistakes of the past and churning out rubbish. It's as simple as that, really. And that's all I've got to say, really. I don't want to be... As soon as I started this series, I thought, oh, Airfix, you're going to have some slightly critical comments. And then I thought, oh, then there's Revell. Oh my God, what can I say positive about Revell? Because I'm so cross with them about so many things. Yeah. They want your hard-earned money. And if they are charging very low price, you can kind of understand it with this Tornado example, which is quite a typical one. Yes, it's very cheap, and it's sort of cheap and cheerful. Not cheerful enough. It is good for the money. If you're satisfied with a fairly basic kit, I would say go for it. If you want a more upmarket kit, I don't think it's worth all the time and effort and the money to buy that, and then all these and I'm guilty as anybody. I bought all these aftermarket. That box contains only 150 quid's worth, of which only £30 is the kit. It's crazy, absolute madness what I've done there. It's not good value. It just isn't. For what I've paid for that, you could buy the Artillery 1/32 scale Tornado, which without any aftermarket is a better kit than that. Think about it. Think about it. It's not good value. It isn't. People make excuses for everything about justifying things. Oh yeah, but you can. No, hang on a second. What about what you've bought and what it's cost you? What is the value of what you bought? And in the case of some of these, it's very, very poor indeed. If you've got, and it's not just Revell now, but if you've got to buy this and this and this and this, and there's a list of things to make the kit half decent, then frankly it's not worth buying the kit. If there's no alternative, of course, like I kind of had with the Sea Harrier in a way, then that's different. You have to work through it, as I did with the Kinetic Sea Harrier. But that was a kit with some nice plastic, but some very poor elements to it, and the biggest problem was its terrible instructions, which were so confusing and misdirectional, especially to a beginner, that it would cause absolute nightmares for people. Revell have actually got the instructions relatively simple. They keep it very basic. What they're not doing well is the execution of the plastic. That's the biggest problem I think they've got of all. And these stupid boxes which belong in the 1990s, they've long since had their day, you know. If they just ignore me and ignore all of us that are watching this programme, if they just want to carry on doing things their way and think it'll just keep pushing them out cheap, just keep pushing them out, you'll just end up going out of business. I can see it coming. There's a real danger here for companies that are not responding to what the customers want, especially when we've got this very difficult financial situation right across the globe. Inflation's going up and people are struggling in many, many countries. It's time to make some choices. Now you can take the view, I'll just buy cheap kits. I will buy Revell, but that's probably, we've got a more sophisticated clientele in the modelling world now that are going to want more than that. And I think if people want a quality product, they're not going to buy Revell, are they? You know, they're not. You know, I mean, people complained about the Qatari Spitfire, a bit expensive at £85, £90. It's got no engine. Well, neither have most of these Revells. Most of them don't have an engine, but by the time you've added one, you've got double the price of the Qatari Spitfire. So come on, see things in context. What's the true value? To get to the perfect model that you want to enjoy building, I don't mean easy, I just mean enjoyable build, giving you the result you want. What is that going to cost, and what's the result going to be like? And you're going to find that some of these cheap ones, like Revell are producing, really don't merit being purchased at all. You might as well just go and buy, you know, I mean, before they brought out this rather nice F-15E Strike Eagle, which all credit to Revell. Finally, I mean, if they hadn't brought that out, what would I be talking about today? Oh dear, I'd just be totally 100% negative. Alright, 95%. I've got one or two good ones. But it's tough, you know. Think about it like this. Great Wall Hobby have got their 72nd scale F-15E Strike Eagle. Now Revell have brought theirs out. Theirs is about £25–30 cheaper. And it's quite a nice kit, as I've said. Now suddenly, this is exactly what Revell need to be doing. They need to revisit some kits like that, like, dare I mention this, the 32nd scale Corsair from World War II, where they've got another 50-year-old kit. Oh, it's just awful, really. It's very basic, outdated. And again, they've put new box art on, so it looks like a new kit. Oh. Here's my takeaway for everybody watching, especially the less experienced amongst you. If you're thinking about getting a Revell, always pause. I'm not suggesting you shouldn't buy it. Just check it on ScaleMates. Find out how old it is. And if it's old, do more research. It may not be a bad kit. They've got one or two that are okay. But do your research and make sure that you know what you're getting yourself into, because there are so many that it's like a minefield. And so many of these that look sexy new boxes with these big graphics on them and colours. Looks like bang up to date artwork, and then you open the box and it's 1972 all over again, which some of you may not have seen the first time. Don't do it. It's a trap. They're trying to trick you a lot of the time, and you can't let them do that. So that's my advice to you. For the rest of us, we have to just weigh up the pros and cons, don't we, and decide whether we think it's worth the extra aggravation, the time and the effort, or do we just go and buy something that's going to give us everything in one box? Do we, I mean, obviously if you want to tailor things to our own taste, then fine, fill your boots and buy aftermarket, sure. But don't fall into the trap. Don't, you know, like the person that was saying, oh yeah, well Airfix is very cheap and they didn't put their price in. Yeah, but there's much more to it than that, isn't there? Yeah? What are you getting in the box? How much is it really going to cost you to actually build that kit when you bought all the things that are missing, especially with Revell? No masks? No. No, nothing like that. This is where, you know, I think that the Airfixers and the Revells of this world need to really think about that. But I do feel with Revell, you know, they've had plenty of time now. I think the time for forgiveness and turning a blind eye is kind of coming to an end. My tolerance of them is very low. But that doesn't mean I don't like their products when they do it well. You know, I've got 3 kits here. That one got some issues, but not too bad. That one's a good one. That one's pretty good. You know, this is a sort of 8.5 out of 10 kit. This is a sort of, yeah, probably 8.5, 9 out of 10. But it's Hasagawa. It's not really Revell at all. And it's a bit of a sad state of affairs, and they've got to rebox other people's kits to sell a decent kit. You know, like the Fox Bat. I mean, that was a lovely kit from ICM, but yeah, I could go on for hours talking about it. But at the end of the day, they can do it when they want to. They've just proven it. All Revell has to do for me to give them a future rave review or two is to just see what you did with that Strike Eagle and repeat, yeah? Step and repeat that onto other kits, the way you've approached it. Innovation in the design, quality in the moulding, nice finish, nice plastic, good instructions, lovely decals. The only thing that's wrong on that kit is the box. Sort your boxes out first and foremost, and then roll into the future. It's time for you to take a deep breath and have a fresh start, I think. In fact, quite a few of their older kits, they need to either put them down as a vintage model or just drop them, quite frankly. There's quite a few of theirs that are fairly terrible. As for the Matchbox, rebadged Matchbox, the first diorama, well, I'm not opposed to those per se, obviously, because I'm such a fan of Matchbox, but they got to drop the price. I think that them coming into the market, trying to retail them at £20 or 20 or more, that was just ridiculous. Especially when they've just been selling the same product at 11. That's just greedy, you know, and that's not, again, it's taking advantage of unsuspecting customers. Especially when one or two of the moles need a bit of attention. So they've got some work to do. They've got some work to do. But I firmly believe they can do it. They've just proven it, haven't they? You know, I don't need to keep repeating myself. They've proven it with the F15. Just do that in the future and move forward. Anyway, there you go. That's it from me. A bit of a rant, I'm afraid, today. The whole thing has been a rant. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Revell, that I've got to be a bit brutal with you, but frankly, you kind of earned it. There we go. I don't think I've said anything unreasonable at all. Coming soon, there will be more, and we're going to be talking ICM, we're going to be talking Edward, we're going to be talking about Great Wall Hobby, Meng. That's a tale of two kits, I'll tell you. They have a double-sided edge to them. Who else we're going to be looking at? Tamiya, obviously, and Zokimura, to name but a few. So in the meantime, I hope you'll. I'm afraid that I only give Revell 6 out of 10, 6 out of 10 for their performance recently. You know, they can't produce kits that are so as bad as that. They're making themselves a laughing stock in the industry. I'm sure other manufacturers must have looked at that and thought, what were they thinking of? Yeah, come on, have you got no management? God, it's crazy. Anyway, I hope you'll give me a higher rating and give me 10 out of 10. Sorry it was a bit of a nasty one today, but it reflects the problem, doesn't it, really? I don't think any of the others are going to be anything like as brutal as this. I hope not, anyway. I'm pretty sure they won't be, because I can't think of anything where there are so many issues that need tackling, really, in the way that we had today. Please stay tuned. We will have some. I've got some very interesting new kits coming up in the near future. I say new kits. Some of them are not. They're not new releases. I've got some new ICMs coming up. Some really good ones. But we've also got some sort of classic kits and kits that a friend of mine has loaned me some very interesting kits, all in nice condition, beautiful mint. But several that I quite liked and I've never seen before. So we're going to be having a bit more, probably a bit more volume of material coming through in the next couple of months. So between now and Christmas, I think we'll have quite a lot to look at, really. So that's what we've got lined up for the future. We've got a brand new kit coming in from Japan very soon, and a new one from Airfix coming in. Lots of things to look forward to. So in the meantime, thank you very much for watching. Hope you didn't mind me being a bit brutal today. Some Victorian values and dealing out some justice. Thank you for watching anyway. Until next time, look after yourselves, take care, thanks a lot, and bye for now.